I feel it in my bones, even when I move.
As of today, we are officially 21 days until the start of the 2020 to 2021 NBA season. For teams that went on deep playoff runs in the bubble, this will be the shortest offseason in recent memory. Then there are other teams that did not meet the requirements to enter the NBA bubble, so they haven't played meaningful, organized NBA basketball since March. During this shortened season, the NBA draft and the start of free agency happened within 2 days of each other, and during that span of time, trades were being formally agreed upon and conducted. So it feels like the makeup of teams throughout the league seemingly shifted overnight. Throughout the month of December, I will be previewing every NBA team before the first games on December 22nd, meaning I will be posting every day until the season kicks off. 30 teams in 21 days. The preseason preview series. The next team on the list is the Golden State Warriors. Last season, the Golden State Warriors finished with a 15-50 record, putting them at dead last in the Western Conference, obviously having them missing the playoffs. Their top performers last year, consistently throughout the season that are still on the team, were Eric Paschall and Draymond Green. Last year as a rookie, Eric Paschall put up 14 points per game, about 4.5 rebounds per game on about 50% from the field and 29% from three. Eric Paschall was really the bright spot of the Warriors season last year. Nobody really expected him to be much, but on a team that was really devoid of talent due to all the injuries in the Warriors rotation, Eric Paschall really took his chance and opportunity to show out. And I think he even landed himself on the all-rookie first team last year, and deservedly so. Eric Paschall was really a player who thrived from the mid-range and in. His three-point shot was a bit inconsistent. Some months it was really high, around high 30s to low 40s, but other months it was really a low percentage in the mid to late 20s. So hopefully Eric Paschall can get that three-point shot a bit more consistent in his game next season. But his ability to really create his own shot from the mid-range and inside was a bright spot for him. And honestly, it will prove very valuable for him and the Warriors team next year, as maybe Eric Paschall can be the go-to sixth man off the bench, just providing some instant offense off of his own shot creation next year. Draymond Green was in a drastically different role last season than he has been in his entire stint with the Warriors. He was literally the best player on the team, talent-wise and experience-wise, with Curry being injured, Klay being injured, Kevin Durant being gone, and D'Lo in and out of the rotation. He put up about 8 points per game, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds, so we know Draymond Green is not a player that you're really going to measure his talent or impact based off of his scoring, but with that being said, he still did put up 8 points per game on below 40% from the field and below 30% from three. So Draymond is going to have a lot of focus on him with the stars of the Warriors, Klay Thompson being injured and Kevin Durant being gone. There's going to be a lot of spotlight on Draymond Green, and if Draymond Green can continue, or if he does continue to be horrible from three-point range, that can really dictate how good this Warriors team will be, because a lot of their resources are going to Draymond Green because they gave him that big-time contract. It's going to be important now more than ever for Draymond to really prove himself from three-point range, maybe get back to what he was shooting from three in that 2015 to 2016 year. And in terms of Draymond just getting some offense for himself, because he can't really rely on kicking the ball out to Klay or Kevin Durant anymore. And in my opinion, the most interesting player on the Warriors last year that's still on this team is Andrew Wiggins. It was a mid-season trade, trading D'Angelo Russell for Andrew Wiggins. In the games played on Golden State, Andrew Wiggins put up about 19.5 points per game, about 4.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. He also got a steal, a bit more than a steal, and a bit more than a block per game on about 46% from the field and 34% from three. I'm going to be very intrigued in terms of how the Warriors use Wiggins in this lineup this year. Is he going to get a lot of pick and roll plays for himself or isolation plays for himself that he was getting in Minnesota? Or are they really just going to put Wiggins as a long-term off-ball option, maybe getting a couple of pick and roll plays per game, a lot of cutting action, getting Wiggins some lob opportunities or just backdoor cuts? It's going to be interesting because it can go either way. I think if Klay Thompson were still on the team, Wiggins wouldn't get as many possessions where the play is for him. He's dictating a pick and roll, he's getting a bucket. But now that Klay Thompson's injured, he's going to be in a lot more of the spotlight too. The Warriors are going to need him to really be another source of shot creation for them. And the main troubling thing about Wiggins' game is his inconsistent effort on defense. Again, with Klay Thompson being injured, that's one of the better perimeter / wing defenders in the entire league. With Klay Thompson being injured, that defense is gone and you're plugging in Wiggins, who's been a subpar defender his entire career. He's really going to have to buy in on the defensive end, and I think we all can assume Draymond Green will be there to really keep him engaged on that end. Looking at offseason acquisitions and adjustments, the Warriors were pretty active on all three fronts. In terms of trades, they made a trade for Kelly Oubre after Kelly Oubre was traded from the Suns to the Thunder. I'm not sure if that ended up just being a 3-team trade or Kelly Oubre literally just bounced from the Thunder to the Warriors, but I believe they made that trade using the Andre Iguodala trade exception and a couple of second-round picks, if I'm not mistaken. In terms of the draft, we know the Warriors had the number 2 pick and they took James Wiseman. There's going to be some really debate between if Anthony Edwards went number 1, who would the Warriors take between James Wiseman and LaMelo Ball? Would they take the obvious fit in terms of needs at the center position? The Warriors don't have a lot of talent, high-end talent at center. Would they take James Wiseman, or would they just go with LaMelo Ball for more of the Warriors type of play, just playmaking on the perimeter and three-point shooting? But they went with the center in James Wiseman, and I commend them for that draft pick. He's going to be a lob threat, a rebounding behemoth, get some weak side blocks. This is the most high-end talent that the Warriors have had at that center position, because they've been rolling Damian Jones, Kevon Looney, Zaza Pachulia, and JaVale McGee at that position for the past 5 years. Obviously, besides DeMarcus Cousins, that's a bit of a different situation. But yeah, this is some homegrown talent at the center position. How are they going to manage James Wiseman? Because he is a younger player, he's a bit more of a project player that the Warriors are going to have to spend time developing, but we know the Warriors want to contend now, so they're not going to commit all of their resources to developing James Wiseman. But in my opinion, they can do both, because it's not like Kevon Looney came into the league instantly ready to contribute as a starting center for an NBA team, but thus Kevon Looney became a starting center on an NBA championship type of team for about 2 or 3 years. So if there's any team in the league that can develop young raw talent at the same time as competing and contending for a championship, it's the Golden State Warriors. In terms of free agency signings, the Warriors signed Kent Bazemore and Brad Wanamaker. I think both of these signings were both minimum contracts to really gear towards replacing Klay Thompson, because they lost some backcourt depth. Bringing in Kent Bazemore and Brad Wanamaker do both of those things. I don't know how many minutes they're both going to play, but we'll see. So if we look at their current personnel at the guard positions, they have Stephen Curry. Andrew Wiggins, I believe, will be playing shooting guard, mostly because of the Klay Thompson injury. He'll probably slide from small forward to shooting guard. They have Damian Lee, who was kind of a bright spot for the Warriors last year. Got a lot of playing time, was a decent shooter. And they have Klay Thompson, but he's injured. At the forwards, they have Kelly Oubre, Draymond Green, Eric Paschall, and the newly signed Kent Bazemore. And at the center position, they have James Wiseman, Marcus Chris, and Kevon Looney. And obviously their coach is Steve Kerr. Last year was supposed to be the year that we really saw how good of a coach Steve Kerr was without the immense amount of talent at his disposal, but obviously Curry got injured about 5 games into the season. Draymond Green was in and out of the lineup. Didn't have Klay Thompson the entire year, and D'Lo actually had some nicks and knacks before he was traded. So this should be the year that we really judge the coaching ability of Steve Kerr. Just because coach has immense talent around him doesn't mean he's always getting carried by his talent. You got to put that talent together and make it work as a cohesive unit. This team literally went to 5 straight NBA championship series, so you have to credit the coach quite a bit there, because it's really hard to do that regardless of the amount of talent you have. So I've always been on the end of Steve Kerr is a good coach to great coach. He's in the top 3rd or top 1/6 in the league in terms of coaching, but a lot of people really hate on him because he has talent. They just think he's riding the coattails of his talent. So for those people that believe that, this will be the year that he can prove them wrong. Looking forward to this upcoming season, I project the starting lineup to be Stephen Curry, Andrew Wiggins sliding to the shooting guard replacing Klay Thompson, Kelly Oubre running small forward, Draymond Green at the 4, and James Wiseman at the 5. I estimate that their record in a 72-game season will be 44-28. putting them around 4th in the Western Conference. Before Klay Thompson was injured, I actually was going to project them to be either the 2nd or 3rd seed, but losing Klay Thompson again, he's like a top 20, definitive top 20 player in the league. That's going to take a toll on your team. So I have them sliding to about 4th in the West, which is still home court advantage in the first round. But in the end, I think they'll be eliminated in the 2nd round because they'll probably have to play the 1-seeded Lakers, who honestly got better in the offseason somehow. So looking individually, I project Stephen Curry to have a similar output towards what his MVP year, his 2nd year of his back-to-back MVP title reign was. He'll put up about 29 points per game, might even jump up to 30. He'll get about 6 assists per game, shoot about 48% from the field and 42% from 3. Stephen Curry is really going to get tried this year because he doesn't have a splash bro in the backcourt. So there's going to be a lot more possessions where we're going to see Stephen Curry go in isolation or running some pick and roll plays. It's not going to be the typical just Stephen Curry running around screens all day, passing and going, keeping the ball in his hands for 2 to 3 seconds before making a move. So we're going to see a Stephen Curry really carry this Warriors team on the offensive end. I'm projecting 29 points per game for Curry, but I would not be surprised if it went above 30, 31, or 32. I project Andrew Wiggins to be the 2nd leading scorer on this team, putting up about 18 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists on about 46% from the field and 36% from 3. I think his shooting splits will be higher than they've been throughout his entire year or his entire career. Going to the Warriors where offense is generated a lot easy for players. They don't have to rely on their own one-on-one shot creation capabilities. You go into the Warriors system, there's going to be a lot of man and ball movement to create easier looks or wide open looks from the perimeter or wide open cuts to the rim based off of the Warriors system of movement. So that's why I think Wiggins will definitely benefit on the offensive end in the Warriors system. I expect Draymond Green to have a bounce back year. I think he'll put up about 10 points per game, 7 assists, 7 rebounds on about 43% from the field and 33% from 3. I think Draymond Green is kind of hungry to prove all the haters wrong about who he is as a player and that he can really still contribute to a team that doesn't have as much star player or star power as it used to. And I think Draymond Green is going to feel the pressure to really contribute a lot more on his own end without having a splash brother and without having Kevin Durant on the team. For Kelly Oubre, I have him coming in and putting up about 15 points per game, 6 rebounds on about 47% from the field and 36% from 3. Similar to Wiggins, I think Oubre's shot percentages will go up going into the Warriors system where easier looks will be created for Oubre, who's a player who's shown the ability to be a knockdown 3-point shooter and shown a lot of ability to be a lethal slasher and finisher at the rim because of his size and athleticism. I think Oubre has the potential to be one of the better off-ball scorers in the league because of his combination of athleticism and shooting potential. Oubre's never really been like a consistent above 37% shooter from 3-point land, but he's made strides over the past couple years, and Oubre's always been supremely athletic. He's always a lob threat. He's great at slashing to the rim and finishing at the rim through and above contact. I think Kelly Oubre will get a lot more of those looks going into the Golden State Warriors system because of the system and because he's playing with the most playmaking he's ever played with, going to play with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. And for James Wiseman, I have him coming in putting up about 12 points per game, 10 rebounds, 1.5 blocks per game on about 55% from the field. I think Wiseman is going to come in and kind of be what like JaVale McGee was for the Warriors, just a constant player patrolling the rim as a lob threat. James Wiseman is about 7'1" or 7 feet tall, and he's really athletic, moves very well for a big man. So I think just off of his athleticism alone, he should get a lot of putback opportunities to really improve his points per game total. There's not going to be a lot of plays in terms of post-ups run for James Wiseman because I don't really think he's that great of a post-up player, but there will be a lot of plays where Golden State runs the Stephen Curry, Draymond Green pick and roll where Stephen Curry kind of gets open off the screen, going to his right, somebody has to help, leaving Draymond Green to run right down the middle, the free throw line extended, and when he gets the ball at the free throw line extended, he can just lob it to James Wiseman or whoever it is at the dunker spot. I assume it will be easier or more efficient to lob it to James Wiseman than JaVale McGee because Wiseman has a lot more high-end talent than JaVale McGee. So this will be like a rookie James Wiseman should be kind of similar to getting a JaVale McGee plus because of the similar athleticism, a bit taller, and a lot more skilled. For the direction of this Golden State Warriors team, they definitely want to contend right away. They already went through a year of where they were the literal worst team in the league. Or no, I don't think they were worse than the Cavs. Or they might have been, but I know they were the worst team in the Western Conference. With Curry being back, maybe Draymond getting a lot of time to rest, and the Warriors getting some reinforcements in Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre, and having the number 2 pick and using it on a position of need in James Wiseman, this team should be hungry to really compete and get back to championship contention. The Klay Thompson injury was a bitter pill for the Warriors to swallow. With a healthy Klay Thompson, I could easily see this team as one of the NBA's elite title contenders. However, I still expect them to obtain home court advantage in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs. Stephen Curry will be relied upon more for shot creation without his Splash brother, a diminished Draymond Green, and a younger Warriors team in general. It'll be interesting to see how the Golden State Warriors integrate young ascending talent in James Wiseman, Eric Paschall, Andrew Wiggins, and Kelly Oubre onto a team hungry to return to contention for the Larry O'Brien Trophy.
Be okay, man, just stay up on my way.